The division of individuals into inflation versus deflation camps, I would argue, may be harmful to Americans that decide to believe wholeheartedly in one over the other and act. For example, purchasing real estate hoping for inflation to cure an oversupply is a disastrous strategy. The reality is, price inflation and deflation happen at the same time. We may see prices rise in gold, silver, and commodities, but at the same time, we can see massive declines in real estate, stocks, and wages. Deflation becomes dangerous when we see a death spiral in falling income and access to credit. The overriding fear in this country is primarily deflation. Ordinary Americans are beginning to be pulled underwater by the deleveraging economy, a process that is just beginning to unfold. Inflation is largely going unrecognized. The speed of rising prices in food is prevalent in other parts of the world. The U.S. government seems universally intent on refloating the economy through a tag-team effort of spending and Federal Reserve money expansion. The truth is, the federal government is spending as if there is no tomorrow. If we witness a major stock market collapse and an economic crisis, expect headlines such as, "Will the Fed do more?" and "What ammunition does the Fed have left for the economy?" Simple Ben has every intention to fulfill his destiny. A century of inflation has reached its final stage. All previous Federal Reserve chairmen inflated the supply of money, but all struggled against the urge to do so. Their statements of regret may have been authentic or may have been for show, but they expressed a concern and understanding that money in excess of a constructive need is destructive. Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke's mind is not so encumbered. His most famous speech was not inflation, making sure it doesn't happen here. In fact, Bernanke's most famous speech was titled Deflation, making sure it doesn't happen here. To quote Bernanke, "Like gold, US dollars have value only to the extent that they are strictly limited in supply. But the US government has a technology called a printing press, or today its electronic equivalent, that allows it to produce as many US dollars as it wishes at essentially no cost." This quote shows us an insight into the mind of Bernanke. He is not constrained, as Germany was in 1923, by the speed of a physical printing press. Simple Ben has already been prepping for this moment in a 1999 paper called Monetary Policy and Price Stability. He suggested the Fed could go beyond its mandate of purchasing short-term government debt in open market operations. Long-term treasury bonds, common stocks, and corporate bonds were his suggestion. In other words, the government could print money and the Fed could buy anything. The effort to hire Federal Reserve governors who complement the chairman and are so willing to exceed the institution's mandate is a reason to expect vast money printing in the months ahead. Bernanke recently stacked the deck by choosing Janet Yellen as his new vice chairwoman. As the current president of the San Francisco Federal Reserve Bank, Yellen showed she has what it takes to serve. She is as confused about how the world works as is the chairman. To quote her, "If it were possible to take interest rates into negative territory, I would be voting for that." As an alternative approach to achieve Dow 1 million, a senior policy staffer at the Fed told the Financial Times in 2002 of how he would turn the dollar into monopoly money. The Fed, quote, "could theoretically buy anything to pump money into the system, including state and local debt, real estate, and gold mines. Any asset," unquote. A lingering question is whether the Fed would dare take such steps. Congress has not stopped the Fed from irregular and illegal activities before. We all remember how the Federal Reserve, the Treasury, and Congress decided to ignore existing law and the will of the people to provide a bailout to the benefit of Bear Stearns bondholders at public expense. It seems that no matter how much government policies and the decisions of the Fed hurt the middle class of America, we can expect more bailouts and unlimited money printing to the total destruction of the US dollar.